I tell people co-parenting in all facets is a business. If you look at it as a business, then you'll remove the emotions.
Okay.
If this was a business, how can we move this business forward?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Dads on Purpose, the podcast. I'm your host, as always. Got the big homie KB. How you doing, man?
What's up, baby? It's always good to be here. Let's go.
Y'all, I'm glad I turned your mic down. I knew it was coming. I was like, I gotta turn this down, man. People on Apple and Spotify, their ears is hurting, man.
Go.
Yo, we got Game Changers, certified speaker, Eric Thomas and Associates, Big Kevin Meeks, the co-parenting coach. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here, man. So excited to be here.
Man, I'm glad we finally got this done. Y'all, of course, y'all wasn't on the podcast before we started, but they was both dropping a whole bunch of gems. I said, yo, I need y'all to stop because we got to get these recorded, man. So look, we in the building, quote unquote. This is gonna be a good episode. I'm excited because we've talked about it. We've hinted at co-parenting a lot in the last episodes. I mean, what we done 15, 16, 17, I don't know. We in the teens on episodes, but it seemed like the last like 4 or 5, a lot of the conversation was like, yo, we need to talk about co-parenting. And I was like, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I got Big Meeks coming. And so, man, here's where I want to start because I know your story because I heard it. And when I tell people your story, they like, hold up. Really? And I'm like, yeah. And they like, nah. And I'm like, yeah. So, bro, you ain't got to take the whole time. You ain't got to talk about it. It comes with it. That's, hey, for y'all that don't know, man, go listen to his speech. It was a dope speech. But I need you to talk about your story and how that happened and where you are now, man.
Man, appreciate it, man. I'm 35 now, and I would say I'm a trifecta, right? And I've seen every aspect of co-parenting. I've seen every aspect of single family home, growing up with my mother, me and my brother. So I had a child when I was 14 years old. My oldest right now is 21.
Wow.
And thank God right now that he is in his 3rd year of college. So he broke all of the statistics, don't have any kids. So I had a child when I was 14 years old. And what's crazy is I didn't even know he was born. 14 years old, I get off the bus. I'm sitting down like I do each and every day. I'm a latchkey kid. My mom's she working 2 jobs. I get a call on the phone. I'm sitting down. I take all my clothes off, my book bag, sit them down, and I sit down on the couch, and I'm eating Fruit Loops, off-brand Fruit Rounds.
Hey, Fruit Rounds.
And I'm watching the Thundercats cartoon. This is my ritual every day.
Yeah.
Ring. I get a phone call. Your son is born. I'm like, what? But it still ain't hitting me. Now I knew she was pregnant, but I just, I had that like, no, this ain't real. I'm 13 years old. This can't be real. Your son is born. You talking about heart drop. I don't think I was more afraid of what she said, but what my mom's gonna say.
Yeah.
Hold on, backtrack real quick because I don't want people to miss this part. So how many times did you have sex before she got pregnant?
First time. She was my first. I'm talking about, and look, I tell my son, I tell my daughters now, I have the worst luck. And if you're coming from me, you may have just the same amount of luck. So please practice abstinence. My first time, my first experience, she got pregnant. I'm talking about 1 shot.
Wow.
I said, you got to be kidding me, man.
That's a whole nother conversation, man, of how that happened. But we talking about co-parenting. And so not only obviously at 14, you're not getting married. So automatically you co-parenting right there off the rip.
Off that.
So then you co-parent, and then you have the other, I don't want to say issues, but another layer of you're a teenage father.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, what was that experience like? Like, besides being scared to death, but what was that like being co-parenting, being a teenage father, not even just a teenage father, but a 14-year-old father?
It was one of the worst experiences of my life.
Mm.
And I'm saying this now because those words I spoke to my son was very damaging. Because for me to speak that it was the worst experience of my life would allude to that I didn't want him and that he's so much a mistake.
Yeah.
And the truth is, and I'm not going to be liked for this comment, he wasn't a blessing. He wasn't my apple to my eye at that point. I'm 14. I barely knew myself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no shot against him. Now I love him. That's my son. I mean, I've always loved him. But at that time, I couldn't see I'm a dad and I couldn't see that. So the answer to your question, it was the worst experience of my life, because you're talking about 1999 when it wasn't a thing that like it wasn't a norm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a norm that, now you have to go to alternative schools and you looked at a certain type of way when you go to church, and this is where you get the church hurt from, because now you're isolated, because when the church don't know how to deal with it, and that's another whole rabbit hole. But it was one of the worst experiences.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin, can you talk a little bit? And I know we're getting the co-parenting, but can you talk a little bit about the experience of being a father, being somebody's girlfriend, or just having that other person around, having to deal with their parents, having to deal with your parents, and having to balance and juggle school? Because one of my greatest joys is mentoring teen fathers. And what I discovered about teen parents is not only are they developing and growing themselves, now they're dealing with the pressures of all of these other people that we never think about, right? We always just say, oh, well, you shouldn't have that kid step up to the plate. And you're like, I'm trying to step up to the plate, but this, or I'm trying to do this, but this, or I really want to be involved. Because what I realized was, even though our teen dads didn't prepare to be a dad, they were willing to step up to be a dad. But there are so many obstacles that come in with that. So if you don't mind, just kind of give us a little bit of detail of, what was that experience really like?
Again, it was going into it. It was one of the worst experiences, because in 1999, and even now, you have society has this thing where you have to automatically be something that I didn't even see. I told you guys I was a trifecta. I was growing up with a single parent home. My dad wasn't around. So now I have to give something that I've never seen. And I'm going to talk about that a little later, when I had to apologize to my father. I've never seen that, and have the expectation of you have to be a father. I'm 14. So now I'm manufacturing fatherhood.
Yeah.
So when it comes to going to school, so now I'm trying to find anything to say, okay, what would a dad do? So I quit the football team. I went and got a job working from, after school from 3 to 8, because that was the legal limit. 8 o'clock was the cutoff, walking diapers down to her house and, trying to do as much as I can. But as far as instilling, it's none of that going on. I can't give you something that I don't have, but the expectation of society, family members, her family members, I didn't have it. So they unknowingly put certain pressures on me that they you know what I mean? They wish that I had.
Yeah. Let's pause right there, because I really want people to get. I really want to get people to get this, though. Think about this: a 14-year-old who might have had a promising football career, who was really a good student, but now has decided to quit sports, right? Because he's thinking like, okay, now I have to take care of my kid. And honestly, but believing the truth, I tell my students, you need to go get back on the field. You need to go play soccer. If you play soccer, you need to get back on the soccer team. If you play football, you need to go to football practice. You got to play the game of the sport, because that's something that you do well. And every time we take something away from young individuals that they do well, it only leaves pitfalls, because now they're struggling with the stuff that they're not doing well, being a father, because I've never had an example of a father, you know, and then you start picking up these responsibilities. At 14, you're going to work just to pay for your own things, right?
Yeah.
Now at 14, you're going to work trying to take care of a family. Y'all, is nothing what, $6.25?
Maybe.
At the grocery store, you know what I mean? Maybe. Even if you're working fast food, maybe. And then you're talking about paying $50 for, that's your whole check for some diapers, you know? You know what I mean?
$50. Go ahead. I was gonna say though, man, we can't. I don't want to limit this just to. So I know we're talking about teen fathers right now, but I think the lessons translate across all ages and all spectrums, because I think when we're dealing, and I mean, praise God that I haven't had to be placed in a situation where I am co-parenting, but I feel like when you are in that situation, kind of what you said, where, you know what I'm saying, Meeks, where you have to quit the football team or you have to quit things that you love. Like, yeah, there's some things you're going to have to give up no matter what age you are, but you still can't give up everything you love. Like, you got to keep something for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get liked for this either, but people say like, oh, your kids are the whole world. They're not. Because the fact of the matter is, your kids are a part of your world. Yes, your world should change, but they shouldn't be your whole world. That's all I gotta say. I'm against comments, and I'm okay with that.
Can I piggyback off that? What Kevin was saying. Yeah. So when it comes to teen fathers, like you know, today in our society, they say find your why.
Mm-hmm.
Your why can become a hindrance and can become your greatest detriment. And I'm gonna say this the reason why. I quit the football team, and my why, you have to find money and resources for your son. You have to get, Pampers, you got to get formula. And so now I started down a path where now I'm hustling now. I'm doing things that is against the law. And I'm not being productive. I'm being a unproductive citizen when it comes to hurting people or taking things from people to provide for my why.
Yeah.
So in today's society, they're saying your why, but your why is only great in a situation where it's positive. Because now I'm as a teen father, I'm looked at, you have to produce. So I'm like, okay, I need to take from people. I need to steal from people. I need to take from people to provide for my why. Because I don't have a medium to say, hey, this is how you be a father. This is what you need to do.
Real quick though, did you ever steal some diapers?
I never stole diapers. I stole other stuff to get the diapers.
Why'd you just steal the diapers? I'm just saying. But I guess it's hard to walk out of the store with some diapers in the package.
But I think that's the key point, and that's why I love what I get to do with teen fathers, because I do get to step in right at that moment that they're thinking about quitting and going and do the other things. And I'm just so fortunate for a district that actually provides these things for the students, so they don't have to go out there and think, okay, I got to do this and this and this to get Pampers or formula and things like that. And it's the basic things. And I leave it at this: it's just that when we talk about teen fathers, let's not leave them out there to develop to become the best father that they want, that they can be. We need to go out there and support them. We really need to get behind these young men that we know are out there and just support them. And supporting them is not necessarily financial. Supporting needs to be their education. We need them to graduate. I don't care if you go to college or anything else, but in America, they just want you to go to school for 12 years and get your high school diploma, right? If not, you go get a ticket in the mail because you didn't show up for school. Facts. You know what I mean? So, we really have to surround ourselves around the teen fathers and help support them, because they need just as much help as a grown man being a father is a need. And even in the case where you don't even have a father in the home, so your mom is just like, you need to do your best to take care of your family. because of her situation and what she's going through. So the pressure is just mounting up, and they need somebody to walk with them so they don't blow up or cave in because of their why.
Right.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Again, I don't want to limit it to teen fathers because we talk about, teen fathers getting education in school, but I want to make sure that they get that education as far as like being a dad. And there are so many outlets, but there's not enough outlets for people to learn how to be fathers. And I think that's what we're doing right here, man, is we're really just helping people figure this dad thing out, because mom's got all the information, man. They got mommy groups and, they got classes and things like that. Yeah. And it's expected that, right, wrong, indifferent, whatever, it's expected that moms know how to take care of children, but it's not an expectation of fathers understand how to be a father, but their expectations once you become a father, that society tells you, like, Meeks, you got to go get some money, you got to go do this, you got to go do this, but ain't nobody telling you how to really do it. So with that, I want to kind of pivot, y'all.
Let's go. I
want to know, and this, you can think on this one, but don't think too long because people might leave the podcast. I want to know, what is the secret to co-parenting and successfully co-parenting? And so when I say that, I don't limit co-parenting to a couple that is not married. Yeah. Because KB, you co-parenting, I'm co-parenting with my wife. It's different parenting styles. And so it's like, what is the key to co-parenting successfully? Hand it off.
Removing your emotions.
Ooh.
Removing all your emotions.
I need you to elaborate on that one. What's the word we used last week? Expound. I need you to expound.
Because we have, as fathers, we have this innate thing that I'm dad. Boom, boom, boom. I should have 50%. Hey, listen. I tell people, co-parenting in all facets is a business. If you look at it as a business, then you'll remove the emotions.
Okay.
If this was a business, how can we move this business forward? Case in point, this podcast. You and Josh and Kevin have to come together and say what's best for the podcast.
Yeah.
Not how I can benefit or how I can get notoriety. What's best for the podcast? What's best for our children? What's best for our child? Is this commotion conducive to our child's growth? Or is it just me or the way I feel?
That's a word, man. That could be a whole book.
Bro.
Yeah. Did you write that book already?
No, I didn't.
Because if you haven't, I will.
But that hits the nail on the head, because I think oftentimes, even in single parenting, co-parenting situations, or listen, I don't even say single parenting. If you're a single parent, that means that you're single, you're not dating anybody, or you're not with anybody. Does not mean that the other person is not in the picture, right? So co-parenting, and I think that's something that we need to start addressing too, is like, have we tried to attempt co-parenting, or do you just choose to parent by yourself? But taking the emotions out and being able to say, what is the best interest of the child? If you go to Child Protective Service, they don't care about what you're going through emotionally and what you're going through in your mind and in your heart. They're going to ask you, what is the best interest of the child? And then they're going to move with that. And I think sometimes as parents, like we talked earlier, Josh said, you make the child your whole world. Maybe that's not the best interest of their kid to be your whole world. You know what I mean? Maybe you have to step back and say, okay, what is it that our kid really needs in order for them to grow and develop properly? And I like that point, bro. It's like co-parenting is a business. Parenting is a business. You're raising and developing an individual to be a productive citizen that will reflect back on you.
Amen.
You know what I mean? So parenting is a business, but also we have to remind ourselves that it's the best interest of the child. It's not about our emotions. And I think we see it a lot more in broken people with broken relationships, because they use the emotion to harbor over the kid. Because I'm mad at him or I'm mad at her. So this is what's gonna be best for us, which is not really best for us. That's just best for you because you're in your feelings.
Yo, but how do you get there though? How do you get to that point to where you're removing emotion? Because humans in general, we're naturally emotional people, and so if you're, I'm gonna just say men because I don't want any of our female listeners to get upset at me and come for me because I ain't got time for that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like as a man, if you're the mother of your child is withholding, what's the word? If she's not letting you see your child for whatever reason, right, wrong, indifferent, whether you did something, she did something or not, whatever it is, we know the data shows that, quote unquote, there's a better outcome when both parents are involved.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're actively withhold, like how do you get to that point of not getting your emotions? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you not stay in your emotions and just get charged up and just be like, no, I'm coming to get my son. I'm coming to get my daughter. Because then you got another problem on your hands.
So, so if you was a parent and you fast forward into the future, child's 18, 20 years old, the child, like me, is going to have a story to tell about you.
Mm-hmm.
And you may not like the narrative that they created for themselves. And it can be that you didn't allow me to see my dad. You kept me away from learning, knowing my other side of the family. I think as a parent, that hurts worse that I hindered you in some way. So if you was to think about that, I would say you will remove your emotions to say that from age 1 to 18 or however, that you did all you can to harbor the child to protect them in some type of way, but you was really hindering them. And then they repeat to you or rebuttal to you that you are the reason why I resent you, mom. I resent you, dad, because it is dad's. Like I have custody of my youngest son, and he could resent me if I harbored him or not allowed him to see his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's psychologically
that's
I would tell
good.
parents. That's what I would psychologically tell parents. That's how you remove the emotions, because they're gonna create their own narrative about you. I have my own feelings about my mother.
Yeah.
And the way she parent as a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not all bad.
Mm-hmm.
Not all bad. But I have my own thoughts. Maybe you could have moved like this, mom. Maybe you could have moved, you know what I mean? So that's what I would say. That would be the first steps.
Yeah. And I also think, like, I always tell young parents, like, let your kid make the opinion of who the other parent is. Like, you already have thoughts and ideas of how bad he or she is and what you don't like about them and what you hate that they do. That's your own opinion of that person. Give your child the opportunity to go over there and be like, you know what? I really don't like being over here, or I really don't like being with him or her, and letting them develop what that looks like for them. Because it's already an unfortunate situation when you're co-parenting apart, because I've been told this way: the kid should be the one that stays in the home and y'all come and visit the kid every other week, and they don't have to go to a different house every other week. Does that make sense? Because that's the best interest of the kid. But oftentimes I feel like because we want to protect our kids from feeling hurt the way that we were hurt, then we're doing the work to protect them for them. But we need to allow them to have those experiences, but be able to have those conversations with them as well. So when they do say, well, why do they do this? And it's boring over there, or he's mean to me, and all of these other things, then we can break down, well, I understand you feel that way, but that's your dad or that's your mom. They love you, and I know it's going to be a different environment when you go over there, but over here, you have a safe environment. But in co-parenting, I think we also have to take the emotions away to say, how are we going to co-parent together? Maybe I'm not going to do everything that you do at your house or the way that you do it at your house, but there has to be some kind of alignment to where it's not a dramatic jump where I go from my mom's house, which is very strict, and we got to do this and we have to do that. And then I go to my dad's house and it's just like, do whatever you want to do. So yeah,
But you're assuming that both parents are on the same page. Like you're assuming that both parents want to have the best interest of the child.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that's the hardest part especially when I think about, and I can't speak for other communities. I can only speak for our community. Is like I feel like that's not always the case in our community, male or female. I'm not talking about any sex in general right here. I'm just talking about it's not always the case where someone is just like, yo, like what's the best interest of the child? And so I wonder, what does that conversation look like in framing that? Like, okay,
Well,
hey, this is what we're gonna do, because you're not gonna tell me what to do in my house.
Yeah, you already know.
this is what I will say. I've been in, like I said, I've been a co-parent my entire life, and I've been in courtrooms like a lot. I was in courtrooms every month, and 1 year every month of the whole entire year. And you have to have parenting plans. And this is what co-parents don't like, that I have to put my parental whatever in a document. And it has to be agreed upon.
Yeah.
And it's called a parenting plan. And right now, I just developed a co-parenting plan workbook. It's all done.
How much that run? Where can people get that
at? I'm still developing in the back end. Everything is done. The back end portion is the roughest part right now, but it's all done. It's going to be a step by step. But it's a plan that you go through, and you guys are sitting down and you agreeing upon it. You signing, you are initialing that I like this, I want this, I don't like this, I do want this. And that's the hard part of parenting, a co-parent, because now you have to put everything. So when things get heated, pull out your document. Hey, this not in there.
Yeah.
This ain't your time.
I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I watch a lot of Big Bang Theory.
Okay.
The show. And I think about Sheldon and his relationship agreements or the roommate agreements that he has. And he always goes there. And so I don't know, that's me nerding out. But I feel like that's what it is. Like, you got a situation. What does the book say?
Yeah.
And not to be rude, but it's just like, like this is what we agreed upon, or this is what we said. Exactly. How big is that book the workbook that you have?
It's very simple. It's straight to the point. It's not that big at all. It's just a workbook that you have to go through. You have to answer the questions. What days do you want? What weekends do you want? What holidays do you want? What time of the day of the holiday? Do you get all of the holidays, or you just get one holiday? Do you get every other weekend, or you get every weekend? Like, it goes through everything. And I think that that's key, that you have to have a parenting plan in place. Man, the judge told me one day, he linked over when we was in court. And he linked on the desk, and he said to the court, I'm not interested in what you want. I'm interested in what's best for the children. And if you two come up here, any two, because it's a family court, anybody come up here, if you cannot make a decision, I will make a decision for you.
Ooh.
That shut the whole courtroom down. Because now you have a man that wasn't in the middle of you guys conceiving the child, making the decision about how you're going to parent your child, how you're going to see your child, what school they're going to go to, what house they're going to live in. So now it puts both parents in a situation like, okay, let's go outside and write this stuff down. So we can tell him what we need.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of cases, I think that's where a lot of people get child support kind of caught up. Child support is a two-part process. It's not just you go to the Attorney General's office and bam, now you're just paying money, and then you got visitation rights. Like, they really would love for us as individuals and people to come up with a plan before you go in there. Like, you don't have to have every other weekend. You could actually go in and say, hey, this is the plan that we want to abide by. Is this, can we have this added into, instead of them coming up with every other? Because to be real, any co-parent that got to every other weekend has the hugest loss of playing a vital role in that kid's life. Yeah. I'd rather do every other week, half of a week, on and off, but something that's more frequently, because you're allowing somebody else to make a decision on how your family is being built up from the ground up. And so we have to realize that once we do a child, what is it called? I be saying CPS. That's Child Protective Services. Y'all just letting me talk too. Y'all like, yeah.
I'm gonna be real. I don't know. So, like you saying the acronyms. I'm just over here like an interested patron, just like, okay, he's talking good.
But child support. So when you go and apply for child support, it is two totally separate processes, and we have to be able to come up with a plan together. I wanted to add this too, like we got to do the work on ourselves when it comes to co-parenting too. Like even in co-parenting in a marriage, like there are certain things the certain ways that I was grown up and certain things that I was exposed to that my wife wasn't exposed to, or the way she didn't grow up. But I even think that it's harder for single individuals, those who are separated, because now they have to deal with the hurt and the pain of the relationship, and then also deal with the way that they were raised, so that they can come to a understanding. So I think before we can even get to all of those things, because it's emotions, right? We said that earlier. It's emotions, and emotions have to be dealt with. So we can't say what's in the best interest of the kid and not deal with the most important thing is who are we, how we feel, and how will we be a better person for our kids.
Absolutely.
You talking good game. Meeks, I thought you was about to jump in there, man. I was about to let you go.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. And I think where co-parenting get a little sticky is that, just like he was saying, and therapy is key, is that we iron out, like, and we know, like, okay, I grew up in a house where it was a lot of lack. So my scarcity is finance, right? My child's mother grew up in a household where there was some abuse. So her fear is that maybe her child, when he's not with her, that he'll be abused. So now I have to cater to that and make her comfortable to say, look, I'm his dad, and I'm gonna make sure that the best interest of his physical well-being is taken care of, and reassure her that. And mine could be finance, that I want to make sure that you on board with the things that is value to me, and that's extracurricular activities, and that's making sure that he's well groomed, and that's what's important to me. So I think that's when it gets sticky, when we don't help each other as parents, because y'all was once in a relationship, or I mean, sometimes
first time.
First time.
Hey, but so here, Meeks, did you, because you got 3 kids, you got 2 biological and then 1 bonus kid. So were you a part of the conversation with the other father, or is he not in the picture, or like what was that like?
So coming into this marriage, they had their own agreements. And my wife has a background with, like he said, Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services come in when things get a lot worse. So she knew that agreements were key. So I wasn't a part of that, but I did help once I was in this situation to make sure that those agreements was like, hey, you know, and that's helping my wife, like, hey, babe, don't get emotional like that. He is the father. This is what needs to happen, you know, and just helping with that. So well,
I asked that because, man, I'm on a lot of dad groups and on Facebook, you know, particularly in our community, and there's a lot of dudes in there that, like, they'll bring up conversations where, like, yo, should I be mad that, you know, my baby mama has this dude coming in and da-da-da-da-da. And so I'm like, I'm just trying to grasp, like, is that a conversation that everybody should be a part of, or is that just a conversation that just the 2, you know, biological parents should be a part of, or what does that look like? Because I don't know. I'm just like who gets a say or who gets an input? Because as a man, quote unquote, we talking about, you ain't gonna come in here and tell me what to do with my kid, like, but at the end of the day, if they talking what's right for the kid, like, what does it matter?
Right. And I've had conversations with my daughter's father to reassure him that I'm here to add, and I'm here to be a bonus, and I'm here to put that father structure on an immediate basis. And that's just character integrity with me. A lot of dads don't get that, and it's fear, man. And fear is really an emotion that you feel like you're losing out on something. I think if we change the narrative of our thinking, that this man could come in and really aid me when I'm not there. Now,
Yeah.
you do have some situations where the mother could possibly or potentially choose a mate that's not conducive to where you want to raise your child. And then that's just further conversations that you need to have. Dialogue, just like in the marriage, communication is key. In your co-parenting situation, communication is going to be the only thing you have. Not key, but the only thing you have.
Yeah. No, that's good, brother. That's good. I love that, Kevin. One of the other things that I like too, bro, like to add to that too, is what is the plan for that? Like, what is the plan for dating? One of the things that I try to stress with my teen parents is like, man, you're young. You're gonna want to go and date other people. You want to go and explore, especially if the relationship with the father of your kid didn't work out or the mother of your kid didn't work out. But what's the plan for that? And I think where I am more conscious and start thinking about, is this the best interest for the kid? Is if which it's okay. You can date how many people you want to date. But what does that look like to your kid every night somebody else is coming in till 11, 12 o'clock at night? I mean, I'm just, but what does that look like?
I think that's a responsible thing where your children are sponges. So when you constantly bringing all of these other energies, all of these other people into the mix, and they're not life partners, I think that there's a irresponsibility there. And I'm not judging anyone who have multiple relationships, but you have a child that's growing up and they seeing so many different types of mannerisms, so many different types of energies that you have to be watchful of that. I mean, it's okay for you to have relationships, but I think that you should monitor those because your kids can pick up those attributes or those traits that you may not really want down the line.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest downfall. I mean, I think it's introducing the person into the kids like too soon, and not having a plan of, okay, so if I do find someone that I know is going to be a life partner, what are the steps? Like, what are the things that we need to communicate in order for it to be how did that work out for you, Kevin? Like, so when you decided, okay, we're going to get married, and I know this is going to be a bonus child type of situation, and I know what I have in my mind that I see our family playing out. How did you communicate that to your wife? How did you communicate that to the other players that has to deal with your family and your kids?
So it's different for different people, but what I did was things was in dribble. So we did things that were family oriented so that they can merge into her life with her daughter. So we did a lot of family and group activities to where they got comfortable with her. And I didn't bring no one around until I knew that this is the one. And then I allowed them to have a voice and saying, how do you feel? How does she make you feel? Are you okay? Are you comfortable with her? And if they had anything to say, well, I don't like the way she treat me, I don't like the way that, then we would have had a different conversation. Now, as far as me communicating or articulating my new relationship or where I was going forward with my children's mother, I think that was kind of like privileged information. I think it's more of a character thing. That's not. But she does have the right to know who's going to be around her children, and so I wouldn't withhold that at all, because what we can't gloss over is that in our day and time now, pedophilia is high. So I think that the opposite, especially for men, when you are parenting outside the home, I think you should know and should have a grasp on, is that man or do he have history of pedophilia or stuff like that? Because then you could take that to a court and say, hey, my child is in a home with a registered offender. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm just saying
that's a whole different rabbit.
Bro, my heart just sank when you said that. I was just like, damn, because you don't think about those additional things that come with bringing somebody from the outside into a family like that, man. Bro.
It's like, never mind.
Oh, there you go with your joke.
I was just gonna look, man. We still in COVID 2027, whatever we in, and it's like you can't just bring anybody around because you don't know where they've been. You feel me?
Yeah, bro.
So same thing with parents. Like, you just can't bring everybody around. Like, everybody don't get a pass. and let you know, they ain't got to show you your COVID test or nothing like that, or like, hey, here's my rap sheet. But you know what I'm saying, you want to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, they on the up and up and something like that. Meeks, go ahead.
I got something. What would you have done if they didn't like her? Like what? Because I know I've seen a couple of co-parenting sessions where they were like, it's unfair for you to not to leave the person that you feel like you're in love with because your kid doesn't like them. So what kind of suggestions do you have around it?
That's good.
So things are subjectives in the kid's eyes, and this doesn't diminish what they feel, but then you have to assess, like, is what they feel a tangible thing, or is I'm misunderstanding, and maybe I need to have a conversation with my new partner or my new life partner. Like maybe she feels a little standoffish and they feeling disconnected because maybe she don't know where she fit in. So now we have to come together, have a conversation. But you have to really assess, what is the child feeling? Why don't you like? Because at the time my son was 6 or 7. So he doesn't have the cognitive ability to say, well, because she is not where he don't have that. So I have to assess it. She doesn't give me ice cream. Well, that's not a deal breaker, son. I'm sorry.
or
But if he feels like when I'm not around that he's being abused, then yeah, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that, man. That's real good, Kev. That was a really good question, because I man, that's something I didn't even think about. Just like, what about, because again, you don't want the kid to make your whole world, but we're doing what's best in the best interest for them. And if they don't feel safe, that's another conversation.
Yeah.
Big Meeks, where can we get the book at, man? I know it ain't ready yet. You said the back office is working on it. Where we gonna go to find that out?
Man, just stay tuned to my my Instagram.
So you got a webpage?
My webpage, kevinsmeeks.com. You know, you can get it there, but we still working on everything to get. So I want things to be seamless. But everything is done. I'm just working on the back end because I'm a high systems is not my strong suit. Yep. So that's what I'm working on right now. And what me and you, Josh, come from is, we taught not to speak on what you haven't able to produce. So I'm a little uncomfortable even saying that.
Hey, but we got to put it out in the universe. I believe in the Lord Heavenly Father, but you got to put it out in the universe and be like, hey, we're gonna make this happen. So now it's on the podcast. So now people are gonna be like, hey, when the workbook coming.
But what I can tell you is gonna walk you step by step some of the things you guys haven't even thought about in your parenting plan. Is there
gonna be a cost for
it? It will be a cost for it.
What's the cost?
It will be a cost for it, and also
it's gonna be an investment.
It will be an investment. Will be an investment, and if you want the one-on-one,
how much can this possibly save someone in court fees?
Well,
by having a plan already put together.
Well, this is what I will say: to retain an attorney could be upwards of $10,000. You go in with your own plan, you can probably pay less than $100 just for the fees to get in court, like, because you're already ready to go. Because other than that, you're going to pay attorney fees. And our parenting plan is so foolproof where you don't even need an attorney. All you need is both people on board signing these documents, and it's agreeable. If you don't agree, hey, it's nothing to be signed.
Yeah. Wait, listen.
Man, that sounds like something you should pay $150, $200 for. But,
bro, hey, it's gonna be a nice one. But watch this. I got a question that I think a lot of men really, really, really want some help with. Okay. And so how do I deal with the irate baby mama? How do I deal? I'm trying to get with my child. I'm trying to be supportive. She's calling the cops on me. Every time I call to go see my baby, there's an issue. I can't go. Like, what are some good tips for these good men and good mothers? Because there's sometimes some good mothers who are co-parenting but they're dealing with some issues with the father. Like, what are some good tips to deal with these ever-moving co-parenting situations?
I have to bring it back to my parenting plan. Once you have a plan in place, the the conversations, the outside conversations are lessened or they down to naught, because we don't talk about haphazardly things, just leisurely things. We're talking about strictly about the child. The problem is that you don't have a plan in place, and that you in fear, and then you get emotional about the things that are being done or things that are happening. You have to have a plan. Most of the time, me and I having arguments about, I can't see my son or my daughter, or I'm not getting this time, or child support is high. Child support is child support. I am an advocate for child support. And the reason why I say that is because it's documented. I think that if we take the mindset of, oh, I had to pay child support, your child has welfare, your child has light, gas, water that needs to be paid. I grew up in a single family home. My mother worked 2 jobs. Child support is needed, bruh. When it comes to dealing with an irate baby daddy or baby mama, in the beginning, we talked about emotions. You have to remove the emotions. That's when you need to go get some alternative help. And let me tell you guys this, 9 out of 10 times, a person that has a baby mama or baby daddy, it was one person that didn't want to leave the relationship. So there are lingering feelings for the reason why you're getting so much static, so much grief, so much headache, because they still have unresolved issues with you, unresolved feelings with you. So, and if you constantly, men, I tell my guys all the time, stop entertaining physical intimacy with your child's mother, then you won't get those type of issues. Stop entertaining it. Stop getting to these situations where you're having these intimate situations because it's familiar. That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
And next week, no.
Yeah,
man. No, but I think that's another bar, bro. Like, stop. Never mind. I'm not gonna go because that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
No, but that's good, bro.
When we start talking about what relationships and who left who and things like that, it's kind of the same thing with divorce. Like, and people gonna get mad at me for this, but I don't care. Divorce is a selfish act. Like, you don't want to be there. Like, there may have been something that happened. Like, somebody was selfish in the relationship. And so it's kind of the same thing with the baby mama thing like that. Like, somebody is being selfish. I mean, maybe the relationship just don't work. That's one thing. But when you're not being cordial, when you're not working together, somebody's being selfish in there, and they really in their feelings. And like you said, Meeks, like, going back to the beginning, like, remove the emotions and like get you a plan and figure it out, man. And that's KB. You got anything else, man? Because I'm good, bro.
Nah, man. I think that just the unresolved issues. Like, I think even going into the parenting plan, you have to, man, we got to find a way to move on and get the therapy and the support that we actually need. Because I've dealt with a few people who are going through a divorce, and the dude is just a butthole. Like, the kid goes over there and he's talking bad about the mama. He's disrespecting the mama. He's disrespecting the young man. And then the young man goes back and all he has is just all this information to share with the mom of what he experienced at the dad's house. And it's like, that's uncalled for, because that's not how you show love to your kid. And I think, for me, it's always about, I love children and I love the development of children. And I think we really have to just strictly think about what's the kid, even in the conversation with the co-parents. And I think we've talked more about co-parenting as single individuals, but even talking about co-parenting as a married couple in the couples, sometimes we allow our own emotions to boil up in our marriage and spill over into our parenting. Yeah. One thing that helped me was my mentor was like, hey, bro, you and Delina was here before Kendall. So you can't put Kendall on the pedestal. Like, if anything, your wife gets first respect your before the kid does. And so I think sometimes that's vice versa, even for a single parent, because you're seeing the relationship between the two. And sometimes you have to remember the adult was there before the kid, but we have to work those things out so that the kid can have the best, thing for them or whatever in their best interest. So, man, this is good, man. Kevin, bro.
Can I say 2 things?
I wasn't gonna let you. We wasn't leaving without letting you talk. We wouldn't leave without letting you talk. You good? Go ahead, bro. You got the floor.
I want to say this, like, and this shut me down when it comes to me having voicing my opinion about my son's mothers or something like that. You chose these women for your children to be this their mother. They don't get another mother. You, if you're a woman out there, that's the father that you chose for your child. They can't go, they can't revert and go get another dad. So when you're in your emotions, understand that you chose that man, you chose that woman for your children to be parented by.
Yeah.
So you expressing your discontent is a shot against you, and they modeling this behavior, as I've seen in your other podcast. They modeling this behavior of how you deal with issues that you brought them into. And my next one is, I really want to pregnant pause on this one because my brothers are dealing with this. If you are a father and you have not been there, or you feel pushed out as a father due to child support, due to the lack of support, due to having a narcissist baby mama, or having issues in that way, I'm going to say this, and this is all I have to say to you. As long as you have breath in your body, bro, you can always repair a relationship with your child. I'm not talking about with your baby mama. With your child, you can always, because us brothers, I'm gonna wait till they get 18. I'm gonna wait till get a door and build a relationship. If that's what you choose to do, I don't condone that. But as long as you have breath in your body, you can repair this relationship with your child. That's my biggest thing for my brothers. Because we leave in the homes and we leave in our responsibilities because we can't take the weight of the relationship, or not being in the relationship and having to have a medium to deal with our children. And we don't like that. Men don't like barriers, parenting plans, going through courts, having to talk to you, or having to get an okay from you to see my child, or having to pay child support forcefully. We don't like that. So we shy away and we run away. And we damage the relationship with our children. But I'm gonna tell you, as long as you have breath, bro, if you breathing, that relationship, children are resilient. They are resilient, and they want you and they need you in their life.
Yeah, that's good. KB, bro, before we get out of here, because I'm gonna go back to Meeks. KB, you drinking a juice box? This man got juicy juice, apple juice.
So this is what happened, right? So we endured the winter storm, right? My lights didn't go out. Water was good. Then the last day, they cut the water off because Fort Worth pipelines busted, right? So my wife was like, so gave us the boil water notice. So she boiling water, and after the first 2 boils, she was like, I ain't doing this. I'm going to go get some water. So, she goes and gets some water, and, we drink through our water, but, we ran out. So I was like, all right, baby, this last day of this storm, I go to Walmart to get my baby some juice, and all they had was the juice box. Hey, bro, the water was gone, the juices was gone, Gatorade was gone, Kool-Aid was gone. All they had was the little bitty juice boxes, bro. So that's kind of where that came from, bro.
Meeks, man, we got final words, man. I want you to talk, because we talked, Kev talked about it a lot. Like, we talked a lot to the teen fathers and people that are out of a relationship and co-parenting. What are some words that you would give to a married couple that is co-parenting, whether they have their child together, like it's their biological child, or a blended family with a bonus maybe? Like, what is some advice you would give to that married couple that's co-parenting?
The advice I would give to them, that it doesn't get any easier, because it's hard enough to be a parent to your own child, and to co-parent with your husband and wife, it doesn't get any easier as a blended family. But what I will say, the percentage that they came up with is that marriages last longer in blended families than a couple who came together. They 30% more chance to stay married in a blended family than it is. And that's a statistic you can look up on the internet. Uncle Google will tell you that. So what I would tell you, it doesn't get any easier, but you guys have to, just like that, they have to remove the emotions. It's going to get extremely hard, but there's some great times that you guys will have, because you actually get a chance to be in a part of another child's life too.
Mm-hmm.
That's not yours. So it doesn't get easy, because there are times as a co-parent dealing with a child that isn't yours, that you're going to see that your labor isn't going to be noticed. You're not going to get the notoriety. You're not going to get the affirmity as the biological parent is going to see. And as long as you guys set those boundaries with the outside parent, you guys will be fine. But it doesn't get easy.
Yeah.
I like KB, man, for the teen dads out there. Or if you want to talk,
man, this is just for, I think, just for all parents, but specifically for married parents, because that's something that I've had experience with, is focus on your strengths in co-parenting. Focus on your strengths in co-parenting. I'm all about development, love. Kendall, let me show you this. Kendall, let me do this. My wife is the educational. She's the one that's like, hey, did you get your schoolwork done? How can I help you, support you with this? And then you guys have to sit back and say, hey, I'm really good and I'm really passionate about this in parenting. And you're really good and you're really passionate about this in parenting. And I'm just not going to parent the way that you parent, but we can support each other in this parenting thing. Like when it comes to discipline, I'm always like, Kendall, we need to talk, this is what's going on. And then my wife is more we're talking one-on-one about the issue, but I'm the one that's going in and playing that out. So I think out of anything, know what your strength is in parenting, and don't be upset if the other person doesn't parent the way that you want them to parent. They're not going to parent the way you want them to parent. They will take tips and, plans to help them parent better, but they're not going to parent the way that you parent. So it's always going to be a co-parenting experience, whether we're together or apart.
I love it, man. Yo, everybody out there on internet land, like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, leave comments, especially on Apple Podcasts. Yo, we're trying to run up some numbers over here, y'all. So go ahead, 5 stars, comments, at least 160 characters. I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm just telling you, I want 160 characters. TLCbrand.com. You see me and Kev with the swag up on fatherhood over everything, y'all. TLCbrand.com. Until next week, y'all take care. We'll see you then.